guys, it is Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here with the Under the Influence BookTube tag. Let's jump right into it. So I have some whiskey. It's old ass whiskey. You guys have probably seen it from the live drunk shows. It has no business being consumed. I have some Sprite. I'm going to mix said whiskey with said Sprite because I like bad decisions. Now it looks like ginger ale. Apple juice, piss, I don't know. There's things floating in this drink. I don't think that should be a thing that's happening. I'm just gonna drink it. So let's start off with a sláinte. This, really, honest to God, I don't think this should be in there. Ugh. Oh, that's not pleasant. Okay. The BookTube Under the Influence tag is not actually like my drunk book tag, but it's a Thursday afternoon, 5 o'clock, and I don't have work tomorrow, so I decided to have a drink because I also have to do a ton of book editing later, and I figured it might help. The Under the Influence BookTube tag was created by Olive over at A Book Olive. I will have her channel listed down below. There are 10 questions, so we're going to jump right into it. It's been a hot minute since I did a tag video. When you see this, I will be in California. I needed to pre-film a whole bunch of videos. This is April 4th. You're seeing this way after April 4th, but that's okay. All right, let's do this thing. Question number 1. What's a fantastic book that you read off the recommendation of another booktuber? There's 2 parts to this question. I'm going to start with this one first. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, which was on the recommendation of Chelsea and Madeline, and I loved it. Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant. That was a Chelsea book as well. Chelsea gives me a lot of recommendations, y'all. I have a whole video dedicated to the booktubers that made me buy books and read books, and I love that video. It's the BookTube Influencers and Tea video. I will link that in a card up above if you want to see other books that I read because of booktubers specifically. But there's a ton. And oppositely, what's a book that you were talked out of reading because of a booktuber's review? Who? I don't know. I trust a lot of my bookish friends when it comes to book reviews. I think probably the one that I'm least likely to pick up is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I just haven't heard good things about it. I also have no interest in buying Leah on the Offbeat, which I did definitely have interest in originally. I didn't buy it. I'm glad I didn't buy it because I don't think it would have been for me. Those 2 books just didn't get rave reviews for me. That's kind of sad. It's like 2 Becky Albertalli books. Whoops. 2, has BookTube opened your mind to or changed your mind about any genres? Yes. I never thought that I was a science fiction person. I thought that it was, the science behind it was like way too out of my league, and if I get too confused by a book, I typically don't enjoy it. I don't like being made to feel like I'm inadequately intelligent when I read, but I fell in love with the Illuminae files, I fell in love with the Themis files, I fell in love with The Weight of the Stars, I fell in love with A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I've really enjoyed sci-fi, and I never thought that I would. I also have picked up more thrillers and like horror-ish books than I've ever picked up before. I would have never read something like Karen Slaughter before, or House of Leaves, or things like even Nevernight, or Into the Drowning Deep. They just would have never been on my radar, and now they have been, so absolutely they've changed my mind. Historical books as well, like historical fiction, I am not a fan at all, which I know is unpopular, of like 20s New York, flapper era, like it's just not my thing, but the Diviner series is freaking phenomenal. I also have zero interest in wartime stories at all, but I really enjoyed The Girl with the Red Balloon and Salt to the Sea and The Book Thief, which are all World War II like era books, and I really enjoyed them all, so just goes to show, don't count a book out. Number 3, how much time did you spend on YouTube before BookTube, and how much time do you spend on it now? So in the last live drunk show, I think I blew everybody's mind because I was not a YouTube consumer at all for anything other than beauty videos and like humor videos and humor channels. I found BookTube about a week and a half, 2 weeks before I started a channel, so not very long at all. Now I spend an inordinate amount of time on YouTube, and honestly, YouTube was not something that I ever was exposed to. Like, when you consider my age, I'm going to be 39 in September. YouTube wasn't a thing even when I was like in college. It wasn't until like after that, and then I had a career and I was busy and I had other like adulting shit I had to do. It wasn't something I grew up with, and it wasn't something that was a part of my life until I was looking for like ways to unwind at the end of a work day. So as opposed to a lot of the people on BookTube or on the internet making content, it was never a thing for me. And not because I didn't have interest in it or I wouldn't have enjoyed it at a certain age, just because it didn't exist. So, yeah. Number 4, how many books did you read per month / per year before BookTube, and how many do you read now? Oh, wow. So I always considered myself a reader, but I was never a reader on the level that I read now at all. I read maybe a dozen to 24 books a year before, and I was like, man, I read all the time. Now I'm reading upwards of 200 books every year. I read considerably more now, which is good, and I'm glad, because I'm also writing, and I feel like I need to be reading more to write better, and it's a part of my craft and my passion and my hobby and where I want to go in life, so it makes sense, but it drastically changed my reading. Number 5, has BookTube affected your buying habits for books? And if so, are you pleased or displeased by this? At first, it adversely affected my buying habits. I bought everything. I found Book Outlet and Book Depository, which I didn't know existed, and I binge bought books that I really had no business buying. I also took the recommendation of everybody on BookTube, even though they weren't books that even mildly interested me, because I didn't want to miss out on a book. And now I've gotten much, much better about that. And I only buy books that I know I'm going to be interested in, or I wait and I get it from my library, and I've gotten a lot smarter. But I think I did what so many people do when they find BookTube, which is overbuy, and then you eventually learn yourself your reading habits and you pare back. And I'm in the paring back stage now, which feels really, really good. Being unemployed for a year last year definitely helped. I had to not buy, and now I'm going back to buying, but I'm buying a lot smarter. I'm not mad about any of it, because it was a growth and a learning experience and a learning opportunity for me, and I did find a lot of books that I probably would have never found otherwise if I didn't know about BookTube or Book Outlet or discount bookstore sellers. Was a negative influence at first, but now I feel like it's a good lesson learned. Number 6, has a review by a booktuber ever retroactively made you reconsider your stance on a book? I mean, yes. Can I point out something like specifically? Not really, but there's definitely been times where I've read a book and probably read it pre-BookTube and not realized how controversial or how problematic it might have been. Problematic was not a word that I used in conjunction with reading until BookTube started, because it just wasn't something that I was reading for. I was reading for pleasure. I wasn't reading for review. I wasn't reading to then go and suggest books to other people, and then it became at least what I feel is my responsibility to report those things to you so that you know before you go and take my recommendation and spend your hard-earned money on a book. So the way that I read has changed in what I look for. So yes, I've definitely gone before I recommend a book and looked at other people's reviews whom I trust. Probably like Mel from L to the Any does amazing reviews with tons of trigger warnings and usually points out problematic things. So if she's read a book, I'll usually go check out the review just to make sure I haven't missed anything before I talk about it. I'm sure that it's made me think and go, huh, I never saw that in the book, but now that you say it, I see it, and it's totally a valid opinion. My memory and my experience with the book was still positive, but like I can see why it wouldn't have been. Does that make sense? I feel like it does, right? Number 7, are there any videos that you've been inspired to make after seeing another booktuber's videos? This is a 2-part question, so I'm going to answer that one first. Yes, of course there are. Tag videos, for sure. I think that there's ones where I've adapted something. I think I saw somebody else do the dedications that they loved, and then I did that as well because it was just such a cool idea. Overheating camera, because it's sitting on top of a ring light. I'm the one drinking in front of it, but you know, it's overheating. Anyway, I think that everybody kind of takes inspiration and then reworks it to fit themselves and their channel. So for sure. All right, the other part of number 7, have you ever felt inspired by another booktuber's style, their video style, book organization style, personal style, anything? Sure. I mean, ideally, I would love to have the thumbnails of like Chelsea Dowling. I'd love to have the style of Emily from Possibly Lit or Madeline from Novel Inc. because they just are adorable little gems. I would like to have Allie's wig game. I don't. There's a ton of people. I'd like to have Natasha's makeup. There's just certain people that I would love to have their, like, personality. Like, I'd love to have, like, Melanie's bubbly personality. But in general, I'm fine just being me. So it's okay. I do my best to not adopt the habits and styles of other people because I feel like while I am very much my own person, I definitely have the propensity to adopt things from other people, sayings or different things. Like, I started doing this when I was doing, like, live shows with Chelsea because that's, like, a thing that she does all the time. It's something I see a lot, so then I just start, like, to mimic it naturally, and I don't want to do that. That's their thing, so I try not to let it kind of influence me too much. Number 8 are what are some of the pressures that I feel in my reading life because of my channel. This is interesting. I have stopped feeling pressured to read X amount of books. I do feel pressure to participate in readathons because I want to support friends. I know they would never want me to feel pressure, but I want to support them by participating, even if I'm not in the mood to participate, which is a hard balance to kind of go through. I sometimes feel pressure to get it right. You know, I feel like there's a lot of things, there's a lot of minefields right now. And I was actually watching an interview with Chelsea Handler, and she said that right now we're, like, overcorrecting and we're, like, overly PC because we're correcting for all of the bullshit that's happened in the past. So people are overcorrecting and over censoring people, and I feel like I'm really, really cautious and really hesitant to say things sometimes because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to use wrong pronouns. I don't want to say something wrong. And here's the thing, like, it's just because I love everybody so much. I don't want to hurt feelings. I want everybody to feel like they're seen, and my mistake doesn't mean that they're not valid or seen. So, like, I try extra, extra hard to always say the right thing, and I find myself, like, kind of stuttering and stopping when I'm talking because I don't know if I'm making a mistake sometimes. And it's not from a lack of caring or insensitivity. It's not because I don't want to get it right. It's just that sometimes I feel like I might not be. Does that make any sense? Like, it's really important to me when I represent a book that I'm mentioning all the kinds of diversity that are there, because I don't want anybody included in that diverse section to feel left out. If a book is queer but also has a physical disability, and I mentioned the queerness but not the physical disability, people with physical disability that represents, who that book is really important to, I don't want to hurt anybody, basically, is what I'm getting at. I am a type A Virgo who feels like they have to be perfect all the time and cannot handle the thought of somebody being mad at them. It just doesn't sit well with me. So that is hard, but that's like a personally inflicted thing. So there's that. In what way, if any, do you feel the social element of the community has influenced your reading? And do you think about books differently since joining? Yes, I've already said so. I think that I'm much more cautious of trigger warnings. I'm much more cautious of reading in terms of suggesting a book. I want to really love a book if I'm going to recommend it. I've come to the realization that sometimes I talk about a book and then I go on Goodreads and I see that book on a ton of people's TBRs, and I hear people saying they went out and got a book because I talked about it. I want to make sure if I'm talking about it, it's because I really believe in it and it's really a good book, and that it's not going to be problematic or hurtful to people. That I mentioned trigger warnings. I feel an extra responsibility to do all of those things because it's important to me to not inadvertently be the cause of somebody's pain. Yeah, of course, it's hard not to. 10, last one. What impact do you hope your own channel will have on the BookTube community and or aspiring booktubers? Wow. I hope that on the community, it's a channel where you can come and feel heard and feel understood and feel safe and at home and around friends. I hope that when you come to my channel, you watch and you know that I'm talking to you, that I have a genuine desire to connect with you, that I look forward to the responses in the comment section, that I look forward to talking to all of you there. I hope that you know that I genuinely care about bookish things and that I genuinely want to give forth the best reviews and the best content possible to you. I hope that if you're coming here and you're looking for inspiration to start your own channel, that you know that it's a place where anybody can come and create content. I love that I can be unapologetically myself and I can say what I feel and I can sit here with a drink. I can have the drunk shows. I can be goofy. I can be serious. But that you leave knowing that I genuinely care about, like, your well-being, and that I think that that's the way a channel should be run. I hope that if you come here and you're looking for inspiration, that you realize that being a part of the community and talking back with your bookish friends, responding to comments is something that I find incredibly important and I never want to stop doing. And that's just the way I personally run my channel. And I hope that you guys can come here and feel at home, like you're hanging out with a friend, because that's how I want it to feel. I think my lasting impression and my lasting influence on the community would just hopefully be a positive one, where I'm here to share a shared love and a shared passion and a shared experience with everybody. And you can take these amazing bookish friendships and turn them into real life, amazingly strong friendships and relationships, and that you never have to be alone in your love of books or feel like nobody else feels the same way you do about books. Like, we're all here because we love it, right? Anyway, cheesy, but true. I hope you leave coming feeling like you sat down with a friend. That's my lasting impression on BookTube. That's what I hope I leave here, is a channel and a legacy of friendship. Cheesy, but true. So that's been my Under the Influence BookTube tag. Thank you so much to Olive for creating this tag. Again, check her out. She'll be listed down below, as well as all of my social media links listed down below. But that has been it for this particular tag. If you liked it, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye, guys.